Hello YouTube, this is Dr. Ron W. Satz, founder and chair of the International Society of Unified Science and president of TransPower Corporation, a commercial and custom software manufacturing and certified systems engineering company. I work as a systems and mechanical engineer and as a theoretical physicist. As usual with my weekly screencasts, we'll be discussing the reciprocal system of theoretical physics and how it compares with conventional physics. We have lots of topics today. First three series of free lectures on the reciprocal system came out in July of 2014. I'll briefly look at that. Pulsar stops pulsing. That's confusing to my opponents in theoretical physics. The question is the universe a bubble? We'll tackle that. And a blue supergiant explodes, and we'll explain that. So we've got a lot to cover today, so let's get started. I do these weekly screencasts, and they're usually 5 to 10 minutes long, but I have a series of much longer lectures, normally a half hour each. So what I have here, the case against modern physics, part 1 and part 2. Again, each is a half hour long. Space-time dimensions and natural unit values of physical quantities, part 1 and part 2. And the theory of unit space-time and displacements from unit space-time, material and cosmic photons, subatoms, and atoms. And that's actually 6 lectures, so that's 3 hours total. That's the big mathematical paper that all of you should read if you're interested in the mathematics of the reciprocal system. Okay, so now let's go to the second topic today. Pulsar stops pulsing. We go to Science Daily, as we usually do. This is a great research site. But of course they use conventional theoretical physics, the establishment physics. But it's good to come here to get at least the observations or experiments. So it says here, in late June 2013, an exceptional binary containing a rapidly spinning neutron star. By the way, that's an assumption. There's no evidence that these stars are comprised solely of neutrons. Underwent a dramatic change in behavior never before observed. The pulsar's radio beacon vanished, while at the same time the system brightened 5-fold in gamma rays, the most powerful form of light according to measurements by NASA's Fermi Gamma Ray Space Telescope. So I think that's probably all we need to obtain from this article, but I'll say this. There's a quote from this fellow, Julie McInerney. So far, Fermi has increased the number of known gamma ray pulsars by about 20 times and doubled the number of millisecond pulsars within our galaxy. Okay, so let's figure this one out. And this comes from my WordPress blog. I'm doing these YouTube videos to broaden the base of the people beginning to understand the reciprocal system. So anyway, this is baffling to conventional scientists, but not to supporters of the reciprocal system. It's well known that pulsar periods increase with age, eventually vanishing after approximately 3 million years. That's what probably happened to the pulsar discussed in the article. Most pulsars have high velocity in the third dimension of motion. By the way, the reciprocal system posits 3 dimensions of motion, not the 1 dimension of ordinary motion that conventional physics posits. But in this case, the pulsar is part of a binary system, and so it's gravitationally bound. It cannot escape. So it eventually reverts back to white dwarf status. As a white dwarf, it will go through a series of nova explosions as the gravitation time is slowly changed to gravitation in space. And so this star will eventually make it back to the main sequence. So, study the reciprocal system for yourself. Now, let's go to the next topic. Is the universe a bubble? Now this is interesting. My opponents in theoretical physics keep coming up with more and more bizarre theories. So here we go. Scientists are working to bring the multiverse hypothesis, which to some sounds like a fanciful tale, firmly into the realm of testable science. Never mind the Big Bang. In the beginning was the vacuum. The vacuum simmered with energy, variously called dark energy, vacuum energy, the inflation field, or the Higgs field. Like water in a pot, this high energy began to evaporate, bubbles formed. Wow, fanciful. So let's see what else. Cosmic inflation isn't universally accepted. Well, That's interesting. It's nonsense, of course. Most cyclical models of the universe reject the idea. Nevertheless, inflation is a leading theory of the universe's very early development. There is some observational support for it. Wow, they're going through this crap. Now let's come back and see what we say here. No, it's not a bubble, and there's no vacuum energy, etc. But there's the space-time progression, of course. The physical universe is comprised solely of space-time and is cyclic, not on a one-way path. The metaphysical realm is non-space-time. If there were a creation of the physical realm, then it happened when a portion of the simplest non-space-time units converted to space-time units. There was no Big Bang. The matter and inverse matter were initially widely dispersed, not concentrated into a dot. It's a violation of all known laws of physics to suppose that all matter and energy could have been concentrated in a dot smaller than the size of the atom, as in the Big Bang theory. And I'll say this about the multiverse. The reciprocal system is consistent with having multiple universes, but there'd be just a few because the requirements to have a complete universe are so stringent that it's really quite impossible to have more than just a few distinct kinds of universes. So we're not necessarily opposed to the multiverse idea, but it certainly isn't an infinite number of universes. That's garbage. But there could be a very small number of different universes. And of course they don't interact with one another, so there's no way to test that theory. Okay, now let's go to blue supergiant explodes. It says here, again from Science Daily, astronomers analyzing a long-lasting blast of high-energy light observed in 2013 report, finding features strikingly similar to those expected from an explosion from the universe's earliest stars. If this interpretation is correct, the outburst validates ideas about a recently identified class of gamma-ray bursts and serves as a stand-in for what future observatories may see as the last acts of the first stars. Well, I don't know. Let's go down here. This is gamma-ray burst stuff. It says here, stars make heavy elements throughout their energy-producing lives and during their death throes and supernova explosions. That's the conventional theory, and that's wrong. Heavy elements are formed in intergalactic space, obviously. We found iron in intergalactic space, so this theory is nonsense. Actually, heavy elements are destroyed in supernova explosions. All right, let's go back. And I say here, conventional theory says that blue supergiant stars are young, whereas the reciprocal system says that they are old. These stars have reached the end of their life and will thus undergo a supernova explosion, most likely type 1, not type 2. The universe is much, much older than conventional theory says it is. Actually, the universe is at least 100 billion years. Each half of the cycle takes 50 billion years, so at a minimum, our physical universe is 100 billion years old, not 13.7 or 13.8 billion years. So study the reciprocal system and prove it for yourself. Okay, we covered a lot of ground today. And I think that's all we're going to cover. Let's go down that. That's it. So, for the simplest possible treatment, please obtain my work. It's only $9.50 from Amazon or from transpowercorp.com. It's called The Unmysterious Universe. It has all the concepts very nicely organized with lots of illustrations. Now, if you want all the equations, I have Existence and Interactions, a computational treatise of the reciprocal system, the true theory of everything, 1,711 pages, thousands of equations, numerous diagrams. That'll keep you busy for many months. Then, if you wish to apply the theory in your engineering or scientific practice, I have the reciprocal system microcosmos database, which covers photons, subatoms, atoms, compounds, and alloys, and the reciprocal system macrocosmos database, which covers all the entities of astronomy and astrophysics. Galaxy clusters, galaxies, star clusters, stars, planets, moons, nebulae, minor bodies, and voids. Very complete. So, as usual, study the reciprocal system and please prove it for yourself. Thanks for your attention.